do it. We're rolling.
We're rolling, and I'm loving this. And so we're going to just rock right into it. We're keeping the Opal train moving here with Opal Spotlight. We have two more guests with us today, and it seems like the bar just keeps getting higher and it gets better. Brian,
No pressure.
yeah, no pressure. We got Deborah and Matthew joining us for the next few minutes to talk a little bit about what they're working on. Matthew, good to see you, buddy.
Good to meet you guys.
Yeah, we have a little history. Matthew, before we expose that, but give a little intro on what you're working on, who you are.
Sure. My name is Matthew Houston. I'm with Mighty Capital here in San Francisco. We're an early stage venture capital fund investing in product-based companies.
Nice. Deborah.
Deborah Magid. I'm an ex-IBM Ventures gal for many, many years. Worked on M&A, worked on bringing startups into the company. And now I'm out on my own, starting a new fund called NextStar Venture Partners with another gal who I used to work with.
I love it.
Very cool.
Yeah, and so you both are part of Opal. Neither one of you are on a panel. Are you on a?
Not today, but I will be on the Hamptons.
Yeah, so you've been there. You've been involved with Opal for a while now.
Since the winter.
Since the winter.
That's when I met David.
All right,
And no panels for me. This is my first visit to Opal.
what do you think so far?
It's been great so far. I'm just in the short time I've been here. I've met some really, really fantastic people.
Yeah, and so how did you get involved with Mighty Capital? Talk a little bit about what your love is of the game, why AI, what brings you here?
Oh wow. I gotta.
You can go anywhere with that. You want to talk sports? You want to go that direction?
Yeah, I really have to condense my history. I make sure I try and remember to. Most people won't believe like my path, but it started out 10 years in submarining. Mm-hmm. Then I went into an early tech company in the commercial satellite space. Then went into federal law enforcement. Then went to some military contractor in Afghanistan. Then sales. Then into investing and advising startups.
Wow.
Cool journey.
It's not the normal. It's not the Silicon Valley journey you're used to hearing. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Let's talk submarines.
Sure.
What? Okay.
Nerd. All of that, and you want to talk about submarine.
You had me at submarine.
Toy trucks, Brian, and we'll just put you off in
And
the
this
corner.
is exactly why I don't get into all of this, because most people are like, wait, what?
I love it. And so now, okay, I'll let the submarine thing.
No, let's go down that rabbit hole, man. Let's do it. Just a two.
We dip a toe in the water. Just a toe in the water.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that, because you don't see people come on Silicon Valley Impact and say it's submarine. So talk a little bit about what that is.
Sure. I was 10 years in the United States Navy as a submariner. I was in communications. Did that. It was a great foundation for a great work ethic, understanding what happens and. In a high technology communication space, it's just a world that most people don't get exposed to. So I feel very privileged that I got to do this and then kind of use those skill sets that I learned to make my way into the venture capital space.
So not only is that cool, but I want to thank you for your service and really appreciate what you did. So now let's kind of leap the bridge and talk about what you're working on now. What got you into being in venture, what is it that you love about it? And what can we learn from your experience?
Well, I started when I started doing technology sales here in Silicon Valley, and then I got involved with a leading accelerator here. I guess I could say the Alchemist Accelerator here in San Francisco. And I've been doing advising for early stage startups for the last 8 years, and they're building their sales teams. Through that, we've also been building up Mighty Capital and then our product management community, Products That Count. So I was basically on the kind of hardware side of things and then watching Mighty Capital and Products That Count scale into the software side of things. And so it's just been exposure into all of these worlds that just led me into investing. And then I got involved in the fundraising of things. And so it's just been a great journey.
And we love Mighty Capital, but I got to ask you, for our audience, who are a majority of them are startups, what kind of, from your experience with such a diverse experience and the way that you look at startups now, what would you say from a high level really makes a fundable company?
A great team, a founder that a founder that has done this before exits, can create a great team, and really has a viable path to profitability. Can really sell their product.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that you jumped over great idea. Is that just assumed that the idea is great, and that then you mean, of course, a great idea, but also a great team?
Well, yeah, I'm going to go. I'll say yes to that because you're not really going to start a company with hopefully not a poor
crummy idea.
But that idea, is core. But outside of that, you're going to have a foundation that's solid that people want to invest in, and that comes with a great team. Being able to create great traction. It's super important.
One of the things I'm always curious about is, and if you can just ballpark this for me, of all the people that come to you and are looking for an investor, how many great teams do you see on a percentage basis? I mean, do you see, is it or 4 out of 5, 2 out of 3? What is that a
No, I can answer that. Yeah, I can. Yeah,
are you warning him not to answer that question?
No, I'm just weighing in.
I'm just trying oh man, how do I weasel my way around it?
I'm just curious, like how many people at that point, when they're ready for funding, are really built out with a great team? Because I think it might be rare.
I'll say this. I know that, we look at, thousands of companies during a year, and, we're only investing in, 15, 20-ish.
Right.
So
that's the answer.
Yeah, that's right. Deborah, I got to get you to chime in because, again, you have a long history of being in the space. But I got to go back a little bit further, much like asking Matthew what he's worked on. What brought you into this? How did you get involved in this startup ecosystem? And what do you love about it?
It's one of those crazy, fortuitous, lucky things where you create luck for yourself. Mm-hmm. So I was at General Electric on the East Coast. I have a degree in cognitive psychology, not in tech, and not in, I don't have an MBA. Mm-hmm. So I was doing things like UI, UX design and working with engineering teams. I got recruited to come out to California for an Apple IBM joint venture, which at that point lasted another 5 months because it was kind of crazy. And I ended up as an IBM employee. I was doing branding, marketing, leading engineering teams. And then one day, the head of strategy at the time was looking for an IBM executive in software to join the venture team. And I lived in Silicon Valley and knew a few people in the ecosystem. And then I built the ecosystem by reaching out to people I liked to talk to. And they would introduce me to other people they liked to talk to and to syndicate deals with. And that just grew the network like crazy.
And so you put a lot of, and Matthew, I think you would agree with this, is that you have to put a lot of emphasis in relationship building.
Exactly. And I'll say something a little contrarian to my mighty capital friend about teams. Mm-hmm. I think what he describes as table stakes. I look for founders who know how to build relationships. They have to get partners, they have to get employees, they have to get investors, they have to get customers. And if they're not good at that, if you haven't had a meal with them and understand kind of how they behave and what they like to talk to, they're not a good investment.
For people that are listening, I'm here at the table and I'm watching Matthew nod his head. So
well, I'm in agreement because the only way to form a great team is to do all those things you just talked about. So we're saying the same thing.
It's not contrarian at all.
Right.
It's complementary.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. Again, that's my space, and I'm trying to remember this is a 10-minute segment, but yeah. So you're looking for good communicators, good leaders, because not only do you need to attract that talent, but you need to capture market.
That's right.
You need to consistently be raising, and you need to be scaling, and that is done through leadership.
Exactly. They have to be good leaders, and they have to have the people skills in order to pull people around them. Yeah. If they don't have that kind of engagement, that kind of personality, they can't get the best guys and gals to work for them. They can't get the clients who are the top tier ones. They can't get the investors like us who really care about what they're doing and have lots of connections to help them.
Sounds like a serial entrepreneur to me.
Yeah.
So again, saying the same thing.
I love, and I might add to it because it's one thing to be able to influence and lead and attract the best. I think Matthew, this may go to a little bit what you're saying. There's this other element of character quality that allows them to pivot early, because not only they're they're teaching and attracting, but they're receiving and being educated continuously as well.
That's right. That's right. They have to be able to. One of the things they might have to do is figure out what to do if things go bad. And then it's a decision point. Do you fire people? Do you shut it down? Do you pivot? It's so difficult and it's so emotionally stressful that the leader has to rally everybody around them so that the decisions aren't horrible.
And they need to be consistent. They need to be steady.
Yes.
I think, Jesus, this is such a good topic. Jeez, I don't know how we
Well, we could do another one sometime.
I mean, the interesting part about this is that you hear so many diverse stories about how leadership reacts when the chips are down, right? You hear just such a wide-ranging spectrum of leadership styles.
Well, and do you want to talk about boards?
Please, that's not totally
Because
different.
that is a huge part of it, because the board has influence. The founder's on the board and maybe some of the team, but the investors are on the board as well, and maybe some advisors. And I've seen companies get shut down because that was dysfunctional.
The board,
Yes.
because the board was dysfunctional.
That's correct.
the lack of leadership from the founder
Exactly.
and who they put on that.
Exactly.
So-
So founders need to consider not just, can I get money from so-and-so, but who are these people that I'm going to be working with every month?
Yeah, a lot of those decisions are made out of desperation, and they put the wrong person
Correct.
on the board. And I think if you're trying to, all founders early stage are trying to survive, but there's a mentality to kind of being in the survival mode, and being in survival mode, they'll make poor decisions, short-term decisions, putting the wrong people in the wrong places.
Yeah, and
For
even
the
when
wrong
they
reasons.
negotiate
Yeah.
term sheets, I'm doing a workshop on negotiating term sheets for the Italians next Thursday.
At Innovate.
At Innovate, yeah.
We were there last night. Shout out to Innovate. We want to keep doing
I
more
love
reviews.
Innovate.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing that. And, I've seen founders take term sheets that they should never take, and then they get washed out. They can sell the company for a good amount of money, and they don't get any of it.
Oh, God, that's so
And
good.
that's really sad, but it
It's
does happen.
heartbreaking.
It absolutely happens.
Yeah. Okay. Man, this is good stuff. So what's next for both you, Matthew? I'm going to start with you. What's next for you in terms of and what you're working on?
I think, we're closing out our Fund 3, so we're finishing up a $100 million raise.
Congratulations.
Thank you. In the next couple of weeks. And then on to probably an AI-specific fund, in the early next year or so.
Yeah, I got to ask you this, and then I definitely want to hear from you too, Deborah, on this. For those, there's a wave of VCs coming into the market. From a high level, what has been kind of your not formula, but an inside tip, a pro tip on raising and closing your fund?
For me, really, it's just utilizing your network, utilizing your network and the networks, other professional networks and then understanding that this is all relationship based. You have to begin to build the relationship. It's not a short-term thing when you're fundraising. It's not it takes a while for folks to stroke a check.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're very fortunate that GCM Grosvenor anchored our fund. But that relationship took years to form. We had a couple of family offices in Riyadh and Dubai, 3 years before they decided to come on board. So it's just understanding that relationship piece is huge before people actually want to.
Yeah,
do
we
that.
had someone in here earlier, and we were talking about really the currency of this industry is trust.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They have to get you. They just have to.
Or were we talking about it in this episode?
We've been talking about it
Yeah,
for a year
okay.
on this show, and
I don't know if
it
you
has
feel the
also
same
come up
way,
today.
but-
I mean, it's a consistent thread,
Yeah.
right? Trust and relationships are key.
Yeah.
100%. Absolutely. So I'm in the planning fundraising stage, and that's why I'm here. And that's why I go to as many of this kind of event as I can.
And this is fund one for you?
Yes, it's
personally?
fund one for me and my partner, Swati Dasgupta, lovely lady. And I think one of the things you also have to do is differentiate. How many AI funds with one or two partners, fund one or two, are there now? Hundreds, maybe more than that.
Yeah.
And so you have to differentiate. So we have a unique experience. I've been in the corporate world. I know how M&A is done. I know how to lead a startup all the way through to an exit. And my partner ran something called the Next Grid Alliance for NGP, and she knows how to pull people together, which is really important right now. So one of our services as part of the fund and as part of the LP.
The value add that you bring, yeah.
The value add will be to bring people together so that in specific industries, they know how to adopt AI for transformation, because most companies don't really know how to do that. Does a food company know that they need a particular kind of scientist to build models and so forth, and to make it work, and to really think about how that plays into their business? They don't. They need some coaching.
I love this. This is so good. I'd love to.
Well, that differentiation piece is spot
that's
on.
key.
You know?
Yes.
And as you guys know, my SC Miladi creating products that count. A network of 600,000 product managers.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's our huge differentiator that really just gets us in the door with a lot of folks.
Because AI in specific critical vertical industries, that's kind of table stakes. Then what do you do?
Yep, exactly.
Well, I love what you both are doing. Big fan of Mighty Capital and SC. Love to have you back on the show, both of you back on the show. We're in Los Gatos. But right now, for those of you listening, we're here in San Francisco at the Opal event. Thank you both. How can we connect with you? How can people connect with you?
Magid at Comcast.net.
Okay. And you're on LinkedIn too?
And I'm on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the easiest thing to do.
Okay. I'll have those links in the show notes.
You can just go to mighty.capital, and connect with our principal. And then if you're a startup team, you can use our, we have an AI. I love it. It's an AI generated pitch evaluator. So
on your
on our website.
On your website.
Yes. So you can
love it.
So if you're
walk the talk.
Exactly.
Yeah. And again, your entire team is amazing. So happy to have you guys represented here. Happy to have you on the show. Great meeting you.
Absolutely.
Deborah. Seeing you.
It's good to see you again.
Okay, we'll do this again. Thanks,
Absolutely.
guys. All right.
Bye-bye.
Pleasure. Thanks.
I'm just going to give you a little bit.
Yeah, just give me a little bit.
I'm just going to give you a little bit of the good stuff here, Brian.
Yeah.
A little bit of that.
A little bit of that. Okay. Let's rev up that energy.
All right. That's all you get.
We're I love it. All right. We're here in San Francisco. We're at the Opal event. We're talking AI, and we got a rock star in the house, Lisa Carmen. Thanks for joining us.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us all the way from, you're in Florida, right?
I'm in the Cayman Islands right now.
All over the world.
Yeah.
All right. So Lisa and I met here at the Opal event. I think you and I met in Napa last year, bought your book, amazing book. For those who haven't had a chance to get to know you a little bit, give a little quick intro on who you are and what you're working on.
I am a former 4-time USA National Champion Hall of Fame gymnast turned serial entrepreneur. Sold my last company, focused on helping female founders fundraise, build a community of 20,000 female entrepreneurs around the world, help women raise about 50 million in funding, sold that company to a fintech unicorn, started coaching women and helping them, really get to the place they wanted to be in their careers, negotiate, fundraise, and realize that for most women, it's not really about learning more tactics. Mm-hmm. It's actually about the deep self-worth reprogramming that needs to happen so that a woman can actually value herself when she walks into these business situations. And I realized that was the beginning of what I call good girl brainwashing, and penning that term, which is the societal and media messages that train women to play small, stay silent, and be subordinate to the status quo. And that's what inspired me to write my book, The Bad Bitch Business Bible, the 10 commandments to break free of good girl brainwashing, take charge of your body, boundaries, and bank account, and help women go from good girl to bad bitch. And since then, I've launched the Bad Bitch Empire, which is a podcast, a venture fund, a merchandise line, and soon to be a rap hip hop album.
Wow. Okay. And for those of you who didn't catch it, it's Lisa Carmen, everybody. Well, welcome to the show. You're doing a lot, and you definitely have this fire, and it sounds like you've taken it from a competitive sporting world and have brought that into investing. What has given you the fire in this particular space to have so many touch points? As it sounds like, again, you're coming at this. We just had Deborah on here. She was talking about value adds. You're bringing a lot of value to women in particular. That sounds like your target market. But what has kind of inspired you with this competitive edge to have so many touch points? Why is this so important?
Well, good girl brainwashing is one of the largest epidemics affecting women, because it's this invisible force that tells us who we should be, how we should act, how we should dress, how we should speak. And it's usually in service to our patriarchal world that tells women you need to fit in a box. You can't be too much, or you're not good enough. You're not pretty enough, skinny enough, smart enough, brave enough, courageous enough, rich enough, successful enough. And women are constantly battling this while also being told that they're too much, that you can't be too aggressive, too assertive, too ambitious, too successful. Otherwise, you are a quote unquote bitch. And so a lot of women straddle this not enough, too much fear, and they end up playing small and shrinking themselves. And that is ultimately the thing that prevents women from actually living their life fully. And so for me, this is like it's a spiritual mission and a duty to help liberate women from themselves, really, and the brainwashing that society has put upon them.
So you being as competitive as you are in gymnastics and really pushing the envelope, what was that aha moment for you when you said, I could be doing more, I could be doing so much better, and all these descriptors of where you could have chosen to play small? What was that tipping point for you where you said, nope, I'm going to break this glass ceiling?
I feel that I've always been meant for something big. I don't know what it is, but it's just something inside of me that said, like, I'm here to change the world. There's a reason I was given a voice. There was a reason I was given this brain and this body and, you know, the talents that I have. And it would be, you know, it would just be a waste to not utilize your potential to the fullest power and really create the greatest impact that you can.
So I have two daughters, and the last thing I want them to do is play small or be told what they should do. And you had that inner voice just calling you and pushing you. And, you know, I'm just dad, and I'm constantly telling them, you can do better, you can do more. And I don't think they're playing small, but if they were, how could I help position them to kind of see that there's so many more possibilities out there?
Well, the reason people play small is because of fear. There's always some sort of fear, whether that's fear of what other people think, fear of disappointing others, fear of what your parents might say is appropriate, or society says is appropriate, or your family, or your religion, whatever it is. There's always some sort of fear. And the reason someone doesn't do it is because that fear, maybe fear of failure, maybe fear of, you know, falling flat on your face, rejection, that fear becomes greater than your desire to live your life fully. So, great example, you know, someone says, I'm gonna become a lawyer because my family has a family of lawyers, but deep down they want to be a singer or an actress. So on the latter, that's not practical. And most people fall into practical. And so for me, it's been this process of unraveling. You know, I've been told finance is practical, tech is practical. And at a certain point, I'm like, am I living my life to be practical, or am I living my life to live my life fully the way that I want to live it? And what would that look like if I didn't have fear? And certainly even launching this brand, Bad Bitch Empire, into a business world was very scary, because I had spent a decade of my life building up my reputation and gaining respect from people in this industry, and to come out with a brand as bold and irreverent as Bad Bitch Empire, there was a huge risk that would, you know, in my mind, potentially destroy my reputation and my career and everything that I built and my credibility, because people said, you know, that's not how a professional woman dresses. That's not how a professional woman speaks. That's not how a professional woman, you know, presents herself. And I started asking, well, what is a professional woman? If you look at my resume, I am a professional woman. So where does it come from that you feel that you have the right to dictate what a professional woman looks like, dresses like, speaks like? And then I started to see how much of these industries, and just like, especially male-dominated industries where women are taught to stamp out their femininity and their feminine power, that that's so stifling for so many women, and it stifles their power.
So they're given the box and say, here, step in it, play nice, do those things that will kind of get you to the next level based on what I'm expecting of you. And so let's just say, for the sake of transition, someone has that moment. They hear you speak, they read your book, and they go, wait a minute, now I have that voice. Like, I know I was built for more. How does somebody have that internal change management process now, rather than just listening and playing by the rules someone else gives them, take on that accountability without then having the imposter syndrome come in and that inner voice come back? Because you're going to have that inner voice, right? It's going to always be there. You just can't turn it off. But there's this internal accountability. How have you managed that within yourself to continue to push yourself to higher heights?
Yeah. I don't know if that voice ever goes away.
Yeah.
So there are plenty of times I looked at this cover and I thought, I can't be her today. I had imposter syndrome literally looking at my own book cover, because on this cover, I'm so confident. I am so unapologetic. And there are days I don't feel like that. There's whole periods of, months that I don't feel like that. And I realized that part of being a bad bitch and part of really tapping into your powers is fully embracing those moments where you feel sad or insecure or nervous or upset, because that's embracing your whole multidimensional self as a human. And so the real work is, how do you not judge or shame yourself in those moments where you aren't perfect and powerful?
I love this topic, because I think what you're leaning into, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, is that vulnerability isn't necessarily saying, I'm a victim, but vulnerability is really finding your strength. Because you're saying that, hey, yeah, I'm sad. I'm not this image today, but I'll be it tomorrow. I'll show up in a few minutes when I have these moments. And it sounds like there's a lot of emotional intelligence in that, where you go, I can be sad. I could be high energy. I can be angry. I can be compassionate. And you're not negating all those things. You're taking them on and owning them to be your complete self. And that's what I think is super powerful about what you're talking about, because a lot of times people will think that strength is just, I'll just have stronger tunnel vision. I'll just get after that target and mow over people. But really what you're saying from the spiritual perspective is, no, I'm going to take on more within myself. I'm going to be more vulnerable with my sense of sadness, my sense of strength, my sense of vulnerability. And so how do you start to give yourself more compassion, more space to feel all these things?
I have a whole episode in my Bad Bitch Empire podcast called How to Be a Bad Bitch When You're a Sad Bitch.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And then there's also How to Be a Bad Bitch When You're a Mad Bitch. It's all of these things. And like the process of starting is really realizing, like, on the opposite side of your pain is your power. And you can't prevent bad things from happening to you, right? That's part of life. And it's, how do you react in those moments, and how do you turn your pain into power? I have in chapter 1 of my book, commandment number 1 is, a bad bitch is unbreakable. And it's literally this idea of taking radical self-responsibility and not becoming the victim, because so many people sit there and complain about external things that are happening to them. And it's like, no, to be a bad bitch, it's even in those moments, like, yes, feel all the emotions, like allow yourself to feel sad or grieve or whatever. But how do you, and when do you pick up that pen again and say, no, this is not how my chapter ends. Like, I am the author of my own story, and I am literally going to write my book because I get to do that.
I love this. So let's kind of, again, I could spend hours geeking out on this stuff. So we're talking about the self. A lot of our audiences are entrepreneurs. They're would-be entrepreneurs, but they're looking to break the ceilings. And so taking this internal self-evaluation is huge in order to be a leader. But how for you has this translated into venture and startup and your business journey, and helping other people in their business journey and raising a fund, and then launching a music, I guess you're building an album.
Yes,
Am I saying
right.
that right? Building an album.
I'm
I can't say record anymore. I mean,
I'm creating a album, right? Recording.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm new to the space, but what I said to the producer is, I might be new to music, but I'm not new to my voice.
Yeah. And so your followers who are in venture and in business, how does this, I mean, it may be obvious for us and how this leaps, but how would you say this is important in venture because?
Can you rephrase that question a little bit?
So
I didn't track with it.
Yeah, so we're obviously doing a deep dive, and I love this stuff about building self, really pushing your image and making your voice heard. And a lot of people go up, they're talking about self-help, they're talking about personal development. But what you've done is say you take these concepts and bring them into venture, bring them into startup. Make that leap for our audience, why this is important in that space. Is that good, Brian? Did I do that?
Did you follow that?
I think so.
Oh God, I'm speaking another language. It's so clear in my own head.
You've given it a second try here, and I'm still a little lost as to what you're actually
is it
asking for.
how to take?
Yeah, how does this translate to venture now and building a business?
Now I see what you're doing.
Okay.
You're trying to tie it back to venture.
Yeah.
Great, got it. So in all of the things that you're involved with, all the things that you're doing, and all the things that we've talked about and that you've written about and that you feel and have cultivated over the years, how is that showing up in your career? Or the part is the venture capitalist to you?
Lisa,
I mean, business is still people. Mm-hmm. Everything at the end of the day is human psychology. And when you think about the number of women who struggle to fundraise, first of all, we can't excuse the actual external circumstances and where money is held and where it's not being invested into. But there are women who successfully fundraise. And who are those women that successfully fundraise? They're the ones with bad bitch energy. Mm. They're the ones who know their worth. They're the ones who are super clear on their vision, on their numbers, can walk into a room and understand that they are the prize, they are the opportunity. And that's always the person, right? The person with conviction and confidence and clarity who ends up raising the capital. And I've had women come into a pitch meeting and say, I'm so sorry, I'm sick today, I'm not feeling that well, and then start their pitch. And immediately, the moment they said they're sorry, I'm like, I know I can't invest in her. She's still good girl brainwashed. If she's gonna apologize the moment she walks in for just existing, which is a good girl habit, over apologizing, then she still has work to do. Because what I've realized is that I do a lot of coaching for women. They come in for business coaching, for brand coaching. I'm now starting dating and relationship coaching for powerful women. And all of it actually doesn't have to, it's 20% is the tactics. 80% is how do you change your own self-perception and self-belief and self-respect? Because no matter what industry you're in, no matter what you're building, the first thing people sense is your energy. Does she believe in herself? Does she respect herself? And that's the core of what I do with all of the women that I work with.
I love it. And so, again, need another hour to unpack this. What's next for you?
Well, what's next is I'm going to be the next Rihanna. So watch out. And I've never been to Coachella, but when I do, I will be on that stage. The first time I will perform will be there. So I declared it here.
Yeah.
And now it exists.
Let it rip.
Yeah. Get used to it.
You heard it here, Silicon Valley Impact first. And so how can people connect with you? How can people get a copy of your book?
You can go to badbitchempire.com. That's where everything is. The Bad Bitch Empire podcast, the Bad Bitch Business Bible. It is on Amazon. It's on Barnes & Noble. It's anywhere where books are sold. And watch out for my album.
Yeah. And when's that coming out? You're recording that soon though, right?
I'm recording that soon. And once I get the songs that I want, I've recorded about 10 songs so far, and I'm trying to find the one that I want to come out with. And once I do, I'm going to create the music video for that. So there will be the launch of the song, the launch of the music video, and yeah.
You're just launching into this world. Can you give us a bar?
I'm not going to give it away right now.
You're going to give it a bar? Okay. All right. You have to wait till it comes out.
You have to wait.
The anticipation.
Right. Yeah. Well, Lisa, thank you for joining us. Amazing to finally catch up with you again. And we wish you all the best. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You guys are there.
Whenever you're ready, Brian.
I'm ready. We're rolling. We can roll now.
Yeah. Oh, we're good to go.
Yeah,
all right.
Let's do it.
We're here with Dan.
We're short. We got precious little time.
Yeah. So we're here with Dan Golden, Good to have you, buddy. Thanks for joining us. I know you're busy and you just flew in this morning from LA and you got a lot going on. Thanks for joining us.
I'm delighted to be with you. I read about you on the web before I came. I do my homework.
Nice. I like it. Good stuff, I hope.
Oh, would I say bad things about you? See the smile on my face?
I love it. And you're smiling with your eyes, so we know he's being
It's
genuine.
not that we expect you might say bad things about him. It's the internet that has a lot of that.
So, Dan, I've enjoyed talking with you, walking over here from the lobby. I feel like I should have had the recording going then. But for our audience who haven't had a chance to get to know you yet and haven't done the research on the internet, give them a little introduction about who you are and what you're working on.
I'm Dan Golden. I grew up in the South Bronx. I was born before America entered World War II. So you do the calculation. This July 23rd, I'm going to be 85 years old. I work 60 hours a week. I travel the country. I travel the world. I have a whole variety of things that I do. One of my principal operations is I advise a major private equity fund. I advise them on, I do technical due diligence. I advise them on things to buy, things to sell, and I help them fix portfolio companies.
I love it. And you know what I love about Dan?
But that's not all.
But wait, there's more. Go ahead.
My peers, I'm going to be 85. I've been married 63 years the Monday of this week.
Yeah, congratulations.
And my goal in life is to get Americans to do hard things, do really hard things, because we're getting lazy. We have these things we carry with us, and we do passive things like read and comment on other people. You got to get off your backside and do hard stuff. And in fact, today I'm going to talk about the fact electrons are dead. We can't use semiconductors anymore. We got to go to things like photonics. We got to go to things like quantum computing. We got to go to things like biomimetics and parallel computing, like your brain. So I spend a good portion of my time helping young people start companies. And it's not just a question of going out and getting cash. You have to have a vision. And you have to know where you want to end up. It's not where you start, but you have to have a vision for where you're going to end up. So when I go do due diligence, I always look for that. And I'm able to help young people think this through. It's not the first step. It's where is the last step going to be? And then you work backwards from that last step. And I'll give you a little inspiration.
Yeah, bring it. Bring the heat.
Years ago, I read about Michelangelo, the great artist and the great scientist. And someone once asked him, Michelangelo, how do you carve such beautiful angels in marble? And Michelangelo said, I see the angel in the marble. I see the angel in the marble. I know what the final product is going to be. I see the angel in the marble. I carved till I set it free. So what is he saying? I don't think of the first step on the journey, then the second. I see the last step. And then I take a backwards stance till I get to the starting point. I've used this principle in starting companies. In fact, I used this principle when NASA had to put a contact lens on a Hubble Space Telescope. I literally used that principle.
So our audience may not know that, but talk a little bit about your experience with NASA.
Well, in 1962, the summer of 62, John F. Kennedy gave a speech before the Congress, or maybe it was 61, and he said, we're going to go to the moon. And we're going to go not because it's easy, but because it's hard. I was so inspired by Kennedy. I was a senior in college. I went to a school that required, I think, 145 credits, so it was 4.5 years. And I went and I told my mother, I'm not going to graduate school. I'm going right to NASA when I graduate. I did. I went to NASA. I started out as a plasma physicist, And I started working on missions to Mars using electric propulsion and nuclear power supply.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was going to happen in 1979, but America came apart and we lost our soul. Because after Apollo was over. So by 1967, I was there 5 years, I said, I'm out of here. NASA's going to die. That's before we landed on the moon. And an amazing man at a company called TRW, Ramo, who's the R in TRW, got me to leave NASA. I went out to California, to Los Angeles. I had 2 little children, my wife, and I spent 25 years spending a career building things to take down the Soviet Union because it was a danger to the world. And I remember celebrating, and it was New Year's Eve of 1991. And Gorbachev gave up, and I made a video for my team. I had a team of about 10,000 people. I can't talk about what I did, but I'm very proud that we took down the Soviet Union. And I congratulated everyone, and I said, okay, now I got to go start a new life. And I was going to start a wireless company from space. Then I had some inventions. I went to the World Administrative Radio Conference. It was in Torremolinos, Spain. And on the plane coming home, I got half the bandwidth. I went with one other person. Motorola went with 35. We got half the bandwidth. And I was having visions of being a billionaire 75 times over. On the plane going back, we got over Canada. I called my office. My assistant said, you got a call from the White House. Why don't you call them? I don't know what they want. So I called this guy at the White House. He said, George H.W. Bush, President Bush wants to know if you want to be the next NASA administrator. I said, I'm about to be filthy rich. I'm going to start a company. I worked in defense my whole career. April 1st, I was sworn as a NASA administrator. And I set out on a path to transform NASA. And in fact, I'm here at this conference to talk about the significance of that transformation and the transformation coming to America. We don't have the engines to service the AI machines that are coming down. There isn't enough power, there isn't enough water. It's too expensive, too slow, too cumbersome. So I've always been on the cutting edge of technology, and the next thing that happens, George H.W. Bush loses the election to Clinton. My wife looks at me. She said, you idiot. You were going to start this company, and now you're out. But Bill Clinton asked me to stay 8 years. Stayed 8 years, and then George H.W. Bush said, I'd like you to... George W. Bush. I was kind of like a Clinton sandwich in between 2 Bushes. And I stayed, and then a year after my 60th launch of the shuttle, I launched, I think, 2 out of every 3 people that ever went to Earth orbit.
Wow.
No one got a scratch. Not one scratch. So my wife looks at me and she said, I'm going back to LA. Would you like to join me? You could stay here.
Yeah.
So I had just had a decade tenure at NASA. It was like a child in a toy store. I got a chance to invent.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about some of that stuff today, but I didn't just run NASA. I participated in the creative portion because I feel we have too many people who have, business degrees from Harvard and Yale. What the hell do they know about electrons around protons? And America's being governed and led by people that don't understand fundamental physics. And what they did to America is they said, hey, why don't we do fabless manufacturing? All we got to do is outsource the manufacturing, no capex, no risk, and we gave away the heart and soul of America to who might be our biggest adversary now. So the point is, you got to keep your eye on the ball, and now we're really going to reindustrializing America, but we're not going to reindustrialize to the past. So I'm active in an organization called the New American Industrialization Association. This is the new forms of manufacturing, additive manufacturing, lasers, AI. The vision is you go to your laptop or your phone, I want to get something that looks like this. No one touches it. The order goes in. You have a generic geometric model. There's a company called Zoo. A brilliant young man, Jordan Noon, is doing it. And it'll automatically generate instructions to a CNC machine.
Oh, wow.
No one touches it. That's what the future for American manufacturing is. And that's what I'm going to talk about today.
You're talking about that today. And that's what this show is all about, Silicon Valley Impact, understanding who the person is, and not only that, Opal
By the
Spotlight.
way, with all due respect, Silicon Valley is not the only place in America where things happen.
Amen. Yeah, this is a global movement, right?
This is an American movement. Screw the globe.
Okay, so this is what I love about Dan, is he still has that Bronx edge. You still have it. You know that, right?
My grandson says, Grandpa, you want to have a cup of coffee?
He's got it. You gave him the Bronx edge. I love it. So tell me, I asked you.
We'll talk. No big whoop. Talk about your dog.
You speak like me.
I love it. And so I asked you on the way over here, what is it? And I know I'm running short on time, but I had to ask you this question in front of our audience. You've been doing so much over the years. You still have the energy to do it. You do it with so much passion. What is it that where do you find this love and this drive to continue to create?
Yeah, it's driven by a passion for science. When I was 7 years old, my father was an amazing man. He hardly had anything in his life, physical things, but he was a genius. And he gave me a gift. He took me to museums. He had me sit and read. He made sure I had music lessons. I played the clarinet saxophone. I had a band. I played jazz. I took music lessons from the same teacher, Bill Scheuner, as Stan Getz, one of the greatest jazz saxophone players. I used to make a lot of money when I went to college. I love creative things, and I worry about this country. And all four grandparents came here from other places, and they came here because life was really bad. And I think Americans take for granted the freedoms we have, and to maintain our freedoms takes a lot of work. And I dedicated my life since I left NASA to helping the next generation.
And I love that you're passing on that wisdom and insight. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time.
I want to put in a pitch now.
Yeah, no, do it. Let's go.
With a group of people, young people, I started a new digital magazine, Per Aspera. Add aspera per aspera to the stars with difficulty.
I love it.
Per aspera means with difficulty. Not doing the easy crap, not copying what someone else did a little better, but do the really, really hard stuff. Challenge yourself. That's how you build a better country.
I want to take the mountain right now with Dan. I love this. You're going to be fired up, Dan. I love your energy.
I'm like this 24/7.
I love your I got a Bronx buddy now. I feel like
Well, but like everybody else in New York, he lives in L.A. now, right?
I live in Malibu.
Exactly. You and everybody else in New York finally moved out here.
How can people learn more about the digital magazine and learn more about what you're creating?
They could find me on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
and
you're very
they'll
active.
find the magazine. I do a blog. I only write positive things.
Yeah.
I write a blog every day to try and inspire people to be
kick
better
ass,
within
to
themselves.
kick ass. Yeah, let's just keep it real. To
Yeah.
kick ass, right?
But you could find it.
I love it. Dan, you're the best, man. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to come listen to your talk. But once again, these are the type of people who come to Opal and that we want to spotlight. So thanks for joining us here in San Francisco.
And I got to tell you, Opal, Abe Willington, he is also someone who's dedicated to doing things better. He's a unique guy.
Yeah.
Very unique guy.
Let's go get him. Can we go get him? Can we go get him right now?
It'll take too long.
Okay, it'll take too long. Yeah, we don't got time.
Okay, thank you guys.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Thank you, Dan.
All right.
Here we go. Right on.